right, good afternoon. This is Rob from Just Another Tesla Channel. How are we doing today? Okay, I'm finally back from my trip, and we are gonna go ahead and do an FSD run to Chick-fil-A from work, we'll call it. Yes, I work out in the middle of bum fudge nowhere, so that's what you are looking at right now. But we are on FSD. I did do a FSD run on the way to work today, and I got pretty disappointed because it's like we go so many steps forward, but this last update made me go a step back. It's misreading road signs and misreading speeds, so it was going like 15 miles under the speed limit, so we can't have that. That's dangerous, and causes a lot of trouble. It also was not going into the turning lanes right away, so it was going about 50 feet in front of the turning lane before it gets into the turning lane, going over the double white line, confusing drivers behind me. So hopefully we have a better experience on the way home. We are basically our way home. We're going to use Chick-fil-A as my home. It's pretty close to the house. So that's what we're doing. So when we see videos, endpoint might be a start at Chick-fil-A, or it might be a stop at Chick-fil-A. But that's what we're doing right now. Car has complete control over the driving experience. I would show you myself, but I need to find out how to do a two camera setup in the car. I can probably do it easier with 2 cameras and just edit the heck out of it when I get home. So that's most likely what I'll do in the future. But yeah, we're on our way home. I obviously live in Colorado Springs. You got a beautiful view of Pikes Peak ahead, which is pretty amazing. And then you got Cheyenne Mountain there to the left. So yeah, love the town, love the experience. I hope as I add more content, we will get some more interesting drives along the way too. This is more of a straight shot. That's why I also did Chick-fil-A, that we can get a little bit more turning action going on and see how we navigate other locations. So this is an example. We're going 50 and a 55, which is okay. It recognizes that it's 55 miles per hour at this speed at this location, so that is correct. As soon as we pass this light, it pushes up to 65 miles an hour. And it's a hit or miss. If FSD is going to oblige to 65 miles an hour, it might just keep it at 55. But we'll see here in a second. The biggest thing I like with FSD is it's got great following distances. I noticed with the newest update, it's being a little bit more lenient. It's allowing us to follow a little bit closer than it was the whole trip to Florida. So that's cool. You see 65 miles an hour there, and it just changed. So we'll see what happens. Right now it still wants to go 53, trying to keep that safe following distance. As cars gradually get faster, we'll see if the speeds get faster as well. That's a little weird. It's hugging the right shoulder, not sure why. I'm giving a little juice to the pedal because we are not keeping up with the flow of traffic, and we are still 5 miles under the speed limit at 59 miles an hour and a 65. The ride has gotten a lot smoother over time. It's making decisions a little bit faster, except it seems like it's slowing down on its decision to get into turning lanes. Maybe our feedback from the community isn't as good. Previous update, which we are currently on, let's see here, we are on 12.5.4.2. when we were on 0.1, see, we're hugging this stupid line. Okay, you'll see that the cars are speeding up faster. We're not keeping up with the flow of traffic, so I'm speeding up. Sometimes you give it the juice pedal and it's like, okay, I'll go the speed you want me to go. Sometimes you give it the juice pedal and it'll tell you, no, you can't do that. And if you continue to do this, we're gonna not auto brake for you. So you gotta touch and go with this. It really does not like these lines on the road, I'm assuming, because they are kind of faded. But it still doesn't explain why it wants to hug the right side. It normally hugs left. But we'll work through it. A lot better experience on the way home. I did get a little confused coming out to my car today after work, because it was like, hey, would you like to try full self-driving? I'm like, yeah, I paid full price for it. I would love to do that. So maybe it did some type of update while I was in work to get the system back up and running. So we're continuing. I wish I could show you a hands off the wheel and not touching anything. I'm paying attention to the road, which is the main requirement, right? You gotta still pay attention under supervised full self-driving, which is fine. The juice pedal is your friend because you can manipulate the speed a little bit, which is good. We're causing a lot of traffic because everybody wants to go slow. I really don't like this hugging the right lane, and you guys can see that happening. There's Ali trying to flex. I should flex back, but I'm gonna play nice because we're doing FSD. Going too slow for people, poor people. And it's really the Toyota Tundra or whatever the heck's in front of us. You saw how, well, you didn't because I didn't start the video. When I was leaving work, he was being extremely cautious and safe over like speed bumps and stuff like that. So yeah, the struggle is real on a 2-lane highway. And passing lanes, take advantage of them when you can. But for the purpose of this video, we will keep on just not disengaging FSD if possible. So I did decide to totally trust FSD the whole trip to Florida and back. So if you've watched any of those videos, that was all FSD, hands off the wheel. Car took me to Florida and back. There were minor disengages in construction areas where things became questionable. I obviously didn't capture all the video footage of my whole trip, mainly charging stations. But I did try to put a couple videos in there with us pulling up to the charging stations with FSD. But overall, a great experience. It's relaxing, it's calm. As long as you stay focused. If you don't stay focused, things get a little nasty. I did have my complaints along the trip when the software required me to make adjustments in the navigation. And then I took my eyes off the road for the navigation, and it gave me a strike for trying to readjust accordingly. So that was kind of frustrating. I wish the computer was smart enough to tell us, hey, you're not going to make it to your next charging station going 85 miles an hour. However, if you would like to continue at your speed, we got these 2 locations you can stop at and just click one. I think that would be a great suggestion for Tesla to look at, that you don't take your eye off the wheel for a certain amount of time and not get a strike. Just my 2 cents. It also gets really confusing at night when you're using FSD because it transfers back and forth between active FSD and wheel nag. So if the camera can't see you, it's gonna automatically default you back into wheel nag, which means you got to tug on the wheel with a certain amount of pressure that it knows that you're awake and paying attention. One thing I thought about that Tesla could maybe do in that type of aspect is maybe it can use an ambient lighting feature of our reading lamps to turn them on a slight bit that you can see the face of the driver and turn it back off once you've confirmed that the driver is still paying attention. I think that would be a cool update to add in a future update. So we're getting up to the community now. We're finally almost to Colorado Springs. I'm not sure why we're going right. But okay, it wants us to go down a different road. I thought it was going to go somewhere else, but it didn't. So we are now making a right turn with FSD. It's just making sure the coast is clear, which it's acting very good. It's starting to turn into the last car, perfect. And it executed that right turn beautifully. Not me, see, like wheel nag, because I was watching the road, but I wasn't watching the road, if that makes sense. So I was looking left to make sure that the system didn't jack up. It's like, I see you're not paying attention, will you please tug on the wheel? And I did so. So it's very temperamental with the hands off the wheel. It really relies on the camera. It sees the camera. It shows the camera that I'm looking left when I should be looking at the front of the road, even though I'm supposed to look left to make sure that the FSD isn't going to wreck us into something. We're getting up to our next light. Still hugging that right side of the lane, making me a little nervous. But yeah, it's doing all the driving itself. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. It's a lot better than version 11. And we are making our way to the outer side of the eastern side of town, if that makes any sense. So definitely not in the center of Colorado Springs. We're out east. We're toward the end of the city. It's still building out here though, so it's really not the end of the city. Colorado Springs, depending on if you've ever been here, depending on when you were here, the town has grown quite a bit. I moved back here after 12 years of being away, and all these houses on the right did not exist. All the way down Mark Shuffle. And we are on Mark Shuffle. I guess I'll use that as a landmark. Mark Shuffle and Constitution. We got this King Supers over here didn't exist. All these businesses didn't exist. All this was just land. It's crazy. Once again, still haven't disengaged. You'll hear a disengagement. It'll make a chime sound. So you guys still know that I am in FSD. Another thing that happened in this 0.2 update is they really enhanced the graphical experience on the navigation system. It's a lot more clear. When you're in FSD and you're coming up to a light, it'll like light up the whole lane, showing that you're in it. It'll highlight the place in which you're supposed to stop the car, and it'll stop the car automatically. At some point we should be getting into the left lane. We do have a construction up here, so it is a pretty good test for FSD. I won't give you the spoiler as long as the software is doing what it's supposed to do. It may want to slow it down, let this car go first. I have a feeling the blinker will go on here as soon as this car passes. Needs to. We're running out of space. Tesla's the king of doing this. Yep. Go, go, go. I gave it a little juice pedal. It did hesitate there for a second. Maybe just to make sure the other driver knows that, hey, I'm coming in, but I was driving down both lanes, so I don't know how that wasn't apparent. So this is our little bit of construction zone. They're widening the road of Mark Shuffle between North Carefree and Barnes. And it's executing this. The right-hand turning lane has just opened. It was closed for the length of this road being open. And it understands that this is a lane, so that's cool. It's still giving... Oh, you bitch. Alright, so I think I just got another strike for no reason. We were coming up. Obviously, I was paying attention. And it wanted me to take... Oh, no, it let me get back on. Okay. So, some reason it wanted me to take over. Maybe because I was juice pedaling it because it was taking too long to make a decision. That type of stuff happens. You obviously heard everything as it happened. I got the blinking, take control, please. And then you heard me disengage and carry on with the trip. So there's another closer, beautiful view of Pikes Peak. It's a little hazy, but it's cold here, man. It's 40 degrees outside. We are going to go into a school zone. One thing that hasn't been fixed in this software is the fact that we're going through school zone. So let's see if it slows down for 20. If not, I have to disengage. It is slowing down. But we also got a red light, so take that with a grain of salt. But it did slow down, but I think because of the light. If the light didn't exist, like I bet you we speed up before the school zone's over. And that is correct. So I'm going to disengage here because I do not want a speeding ticket in a school zone. And I will re-engage now that we are out. So again, what are we doing? We're in the middle of a lane. That's a little confusing. Tesla, look at that mess. Don't feel endangered, but why are you training this thing to hug the right lane, right edge of the lane? It's crazy. We wonder why people get wheel rash. I guess we should have ended this in the convenience store back there a little bit. Maybe we'll change our landmark. So FSD has been great, guys. As you can see, I intervened twice. Once it was in the construction zone and it was confused and it wanted me to take over. So I didn't get a strike, thank God, because that would have been my third one for this week. And then obviously it didn't want to play nice in the school zone. So I will make a video at some point that talks about some of the things that still need to be corrected before FSD is a full thing unsupervised, because there's a lot of things that still need to be addressed before I believe it could be full-fledged. But everybody's set to their opinions. I'm sure most of the engineers would probably agree with the things that I would call out, but we'll call that out at a later. You already got one, which is the school zones. It likes to speed through school zones, which I'm assuming it also likes to... Oh, no, we found that out on the trip. It likes to speed through construction zones, too. So we have officially arrived to Chick-fil-A. Completely FSD, one interruption.